we're going to go for it here in about 60 seconds, maybe 30. I'm watching. As soon as we click, we're going.
Sounds good.
Because it's what there's one thing that I've learned in my now 6 attempts at this is punctuality.
That's right.
Right? Start early, make it there on time. That's what we do. Also, this is the first one I've done as the lights changed into evening, so we'll see how that goes. Well, at 6 o'clock, I imagine that it's a requirement so that I don't get in trouble for false advertisement that I say something along the lines of, hello and welcome to The Evolutionary. My name is David Knox. I'm still your host, and I'm really excited to have my very good friend and good friend of the show, Dalai Grace, on today. Hi, Dolly. How you doing?
Great, David. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here again.
Yes. How long ago was that?
The last
I think it
time
was four
was,
years.
well, the first time was 4 years. The last time
Oh,
was 3 years.
hold on. Let me add you here. I did. She just pointed out that I still had the. All right, there we go.
You're doing such a good job being human over there.
Right. I mean, you know what? Stuff happens. All right. I think.
This is the greatest game of pretend there is. We pretend every day. We just make it up.
Yeah, yeah. Things are going great. Actually, funny you bring that up, and I promise we're going to get through the on time. But funny because I was thinking about how I can like invite people into my life a little more frequently through the use of social media. And you know, when we do that, we do it in the really awesome things. There's I'm staying in the redwoods right now. I'm near Santa Cruz, and there's a creek running right outside our door. It's so unbelievably gorgeous, and you know, I want to share that. But you know, I think it's important that we have the asterisks that not every moment is, you know, all butterflies and sunshine and stuff. You know, stuff happens. You know, like when I'm
Yeah.
sharing that, I'm not talking about the $6,000 surprise tax bill I just got, or, you know, the time I ended up in the hospital for whatever. You know, I just, you know, stuff really happens. We're human, but you know, we're doing the best we can.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, I thought the first thing that I should do for people is probably read your bio. Let's do that
Sounds good.
so they know who they're dealing with. Dalai Grace, sometimes referred to as the Minister of Magic, is a trainer of neuro-linguistic programming, also known as NLP, hypnotherapy, time travel embodiment, and NLP coaching. She creates and facilitates the psychedelic NLP training and certification program, which integrates NLP techniques and higher states of consciousness through intentional use of higher states of consciousness, including those attained via psychedelics. As a master NLP coach, spiritual mentor, and intuitive, Dolly supports clients on their spiritual path so they can build and run businesses and relationships that take their lives to new levels. Her courses and programs support people to reclaim their personal power and life force energy from the past, upgrade their operating system, and teach them how to focus on the future and effectively create in every area of life. That's pretty good.
That was great. Nice job,
Oh
news
yeah,
anchor.
that was good. But I mean, the actual content is pretty good too. So, and I know you've been at this for a long time, and all of that is really what you do. It's not fluff, folks. So thanks for being on the show again. So good to have you. Um, let's start with good news and fresh perspectives because that's what we're all about here. And the reason that we have this segment on the show is because it occurred to me as I really got serious about curating my own consumption, um, which is, you know, if you don't know what that means, then listen to any episode of The Evolutionary. We talk about it a lot. And I was realizing that the news media and the social media algorithms and all of this stuff would have you believe that we're in some sort of tailspin as humanity and that there's no way out and all of that stuff. And that is so far from the truth. Humans are fucking awesome. We can do so much. We have amazing advancements in technology, in social systems, in philosophies. And so I just thought, you know, let's just, and I'm not talking about the good news and fresh perspectives of like that they wedge in at the end of, you know, the news hour where they've been telling you about murder and mayhem for 59 minutes, and then they say, oh, there was a bake sale to raise money for the PTA or whatever. Like, shut up. I want real good news. So, I mean, it's great that the bake sale is great. I'm not trying to, throw shade on the bake sale, but all right. So, why don't you go first because I've already been talking for four
That sounds
minutes.
good. I
Okay.
love this, especially since I'm pretty conscious about what I do consume.
I know you are.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference to my life, right? My philosophy is if I put good in here, I get good out in my life, right?
Laws of
And I'm always
reflection,
about
right?
exactly how can I upgrade that? How can I upgrade how I feel so it's even easier and even more simple to feel great every day? And I finally invested in a Healy.
Ah, I've heard of these. Go on.
I've wanted one for four years, maybe 3 years. Absolute game changer. So, in the time since I first discovered these, so it's a frequency device. It sends out different frequencies that you can connect into in different ways, including wearing little diodes that attach to your wrist. Right now, I have the coil attached to it, so it's transmitting. And it's based on science. We are frequency, we are energy. And think about when you hear music that uplifts you or the sound of somebody's voice that just you go, oh, right? That's because it's all frequency interacting with our frequencies. This little device, I can run any number of hundreds of frequency programs. And in 5 minutes, I start to feel incredible. I was running one today called Cosmic Growth that's based on the Fibonacci sequence. And literally, I was like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And all I was doing was sitting there working, letting my little Healy do the uplifting of my vibration for me. So I'm all about optimizing my performance in simple ways. Amazing device.
Fantastic. That's a hell of an endorsement and very cool and very much dovetails into what I'm going to talk about, which is about frequency. And the resonant frequency applications are such an amazing area of growth for science, and I think that it's going to be 20 years from now, everything will be different. Everything will be different. Um, and so last time I mentioned at the beginning of the episode something about Dr. Anthony Holland, who gave a TED talk in 2013 about popping cancer cells with electromagnetic frequencies, actually electric field frequencies, and and I mentioned it because I came across something that I've verified as a real deal thing, and that is something called an Edison Hystertripsy system by the company is HystoSonics has been released and is actually getting set to be used for the first time. Now it's been used in clinical trials, but actually, post-clinical trial, FDA approval treatment. Now, I want to correct myself here because I thought it was based on the same technology that Dr. Anthony Holland was sharing in his talk, but I think it's a little bit different. So he was showing videos of them popping different types of cancer cells by blasting them with a specific frequency, and he said each cell has its own frequency that will really get it going. And if you hit it enough in a pulsing way, then it'll pop it, it'll kill it. And so they were having really good success with this. And I just assumed it was the same technology. And I'm not sure that it is because he was able to demonstrate that it would kill a certain cell and leave other cells intact around it. It sounds like the Hystertripsy system, it kind of kills all of the similar tissues in the area, but it's really cool because they can go at it from different angles and uh, and actually get into a certain depth. So it's not doing anything on the way in, and then they come together at a certain depth, and they don't heat it up. They pulse it so it doesn't heat up, and it creates these bubbles and it kills the tissue. But stronger stuff like arteries and veins are fine, and so they're just using it on liver right now. but they've also mentioned that soon that they should have applications for pancreatic and one other kind of cancer. Uh, and so, it's just a matter of time. This is really, really utterly exciting because a lot of the scientific community has been rolling their eyes at all of us spirit heads who are being like, frequency, it's all about resonance and stuff. And now we're actually seeing real world applications coming through the scientific process and into healing where, I mean, this is an outpatient procedure. You go in, lay on a table, if they put a thing on your torso over your liver and they do this procedure and it very surgically takes out exactly, where you have the thing, the tumor, you walk out. Some people are, the stories is that in the clinical trials, they would get up and be like, did you do it? And my guess is that they started with the liver because liver tissue is really amazing at regenerating. And so, they'll go from there. But I mean, this is just the start. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and we go from here. And obviously there's a lot of discussion about, who gets the treatment and will insurance cover it and how much does it cost and all that stuff. But, that's going to shake out as we go down the road. And we will have ways of treating cancer that don't poison us and, cut us up and burn us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that you shared that today.
Yeah,
It's
and it
it's
goes right
so
in line
cool.
with what you're wearing on your lapel right now. It's something that you actually respond to,
Yeah.
and we're responding to the big redwoods all around and the flow of the creek, and it's just so amazing. It's different. You go down into the city, and it's yeah,
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, and connecting to nature, it's the vibration and the frequency of the earth, the Schumann resonance, right? I
Hmm.
spend 3 hours typically every day outside in nature, specifically so I can be in that.
Hmm.
And I feel sane and grounded.
Yeah, yes. We saw you when we were in town, and we went for one of those 3-hour hikes, and it's so nourishing. Aside from the great exercise, chugging up and down those hills, so nourishing. Okay. We're going to do the segment that we call backing into your vocation. And this is where I ask you a couple questions. And it starts with this. Okay. So if you're on the show because you have some sort of vocation or offering or profession where you do something to improve either the world or the lives of people, which, by the way, is the same thing. And uh, and before you started doing that, you have some belief that engendered the inspiration to go and create that offering or become that teacher in whatever way that is. And so the question is two-parter. What is the belief that you have that is driving the thing that you do in the world, that you bring to the world, and how did you come to that belief?
That's a beautiful question. Thanks. Um, the core of that belief really comes down to we truly are infinite beings with magical creator powers. Most of us don't realize the power and the possibility that lies within us. We're pretty conditioned out of it in our Western modern day society. And how did I come to that belief? A lot of different things brought me there, but I had one really specific meditation that delivered me this prayer. I had to remember what was told to me word for word and follow the instructions, and it became this guiding light for my life. And the end of it, the whole prayer had to do with the light and the essence that we are and shining out that light into the world, and that we truly are everything and everything is possible. And the more I did my own inner growth work and worked through healing all sorts of different trauma and started to really come into my own creator power, the more I've come to really know, like in my being, right at the neurological level, wow, we really are everything and everything is possible. So, with that, now what? And that's what drives a lot of what I create these days.
With that, now what? That's absolutely right. It brings to mind the challenge, and we've both been to Playa, to Burning Man, and it's theoretically a place where you can be anything you choose to be. The thing about that is you go into that frame of mind, and it's very confronting because you can be anything that you want to be. Now what? It's I've felt that there when I was like, okay, I really hadn't thought about it, which we'll probably talk about in a few minutes, like thinking about what that is. Okay, so cool. What then is the desire that you have for the world? What do you think is possible if people know this in a practical, pragmatic way, in an actionable
Well,
way?
yeah, I think that's actually like a significant aspect that is missing, right? I look at part of how I came to know and understand what I have inside of me and how to use it is I was fortunate enough to not have things handed to me. I had to learn how to create things in my life. My mother has called me a master manifester since I was a child. I have had so many incredible experiences of having a desire and those things showing up in my life, some really epic ones too. There was always this piece missing, like, okay, well, I did it over there. Can I do it again? I did it over there. Can I do it again? I think a lot of us walk through the world with that kind of level of insecurity or unknown of, well, how do I replicate this? We can take courses on manifestation, we can do all sorts of things about the law of attraction, but there's something that's missing inside of that. And when I really found that missing link for me, it started to change everything in my life. It changed how I relate to my day to day experience. So, as far as how it changes the world or other people's lives, like when we really understand the secret of creation, how it's continually evolving, then all of a sudden we start to step into the creator power that we do have inside of us. And we start to perceive the world and what we're creating or what we're desiring in new ways. We see new possibilities that we couldn't see before because, again, it was trained out of us. It didn't want us to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So if people know what this magical power is inside of them and how to access it consistently and effectively, then what's possible?
Right.
Everything.
Everything, anything and everything. And my mind just goes pop when I think about, okay, so people like Jesus, Buddha, Arjuna, whoever were master manifestors. They were so in tune with spirit that they could, part waters, move mountains, whatever. Well, wow, what if we had a million master manifestors on the planet, right? What if, 100 million people each just up leveled their game just a little bit in this respect, being able to create the life that they want in terms of experience and creation. That then anything is possible for humanity, which is why we start with good news and fresh perspectives, because yes, we can pull this out.
Yeah,
Yes, we can heal the
exactly.
planet. Yes, we can evolve beyond violence.
Right. And
Yeah,
getting people out of the matrix of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt and into what's really inside of them, but like stepping out of the illusion and into that true creator power. That's a journey.
that's that's a journey, and it's not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not, but it's sure fun.
Yeah, it's way better than the alternative.
Worth it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's beautiful. Let's then talk about, so you, based on that desire that you have and the beliefs that underpin it, and the experience that underpin that. Uh, so now you show up in the world, and you bring something to your clients, and to your friends and to your family, and just to conversations like this, because we're friends and this is the kind of shit we talk about. So what? So let's talk about how then you've decided to bring this to your world.
Oh, I think that's actually the greatest starting question. How then did I decide? I didn't decide.
Oh, do tell.
I got the fuck out of the way to let spirit work through me and stopped trying to figure it out and just started to take the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step, right? I had this really intense sensation in my body around, okay, I know like where I'm being pulled. I don't know the how. Remember, the how is not required. It's not our job to know the how. If we think we know the how, we're in this instead of this. So the more I started to live my life letting my heart lead the way, the more each next step was revealed to me. And as I continually surrender into letting my heart lead the way, even more and more magic and synchronicities appearing. Like the fact that you and I walked past each other, had never actually met in real life, hadn't, and
Yeah.
you were like, oh my God, right? Like that is just one
Yep.
of those divine timing sorts of
Abs-
things.
And by the way, for those of you listening, she lives in Marin, and we were on a house sit in Marin. We were watching a lovely little dog, and and the people we were sitting for took us out to this trail, and we get out of the car and we're getting ready to go. Or no, we were coming back to the car, I think, and there you are. And I just said, "Hey, you." And the fact that I saw you and recognized you and that we were brought together in that moment, it's incredibly synchronistic. I mean, what are the chances, right?
Well, and the chances, I love when we talk about chance, when we talk about an infinite universe, because the fact that any one of us exists is the best lottery there is, right? The chances of any one of us existing is so infinitesimally small. We won the cosmic lottery already. So anything we desire to create now, like the more we just choose it and the more we let our heart lead the way, the more we actually understand that creator power we have. Of course, the possibilities and the probabilities are coming in to now because we're playing in the quantum, we're playing in that infinite field, which is way bigger and way more powerful than what this little noggin thinks is possible.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, none of this is an accident. The whole notion that creation was an accident, that we're in a dead, lifeless, unconscious, unintentional universe is laughable. It's just, it's. I mean, we're going to look back on that notion, and it's going to be a flat Earth thing. And there's going to be some people who still believe it, way, way out on the fringe, and everyone else is going to go, can you believe that we thought that creation was an accident? I mean, from my perspective, it's already been proven just statistically. Start running the numbers. What are the chances in a chance-based universe that all of this came together like this? The chances aren't there. It's almost it's nothing. It's literally as close to. It's like the biggest number I've ever seen. I've seen some calculations on the the first self-replicating protein coming together in the primordial swamp. Like all of the ways that those compounds could come together and not work versus the one way that it would work. And the number is the biggest number I've ever seen. It is over 8,000 zeros bigger than the number of protons in the universe. It's a big, big number saying that it didn't happen. It wasn't a mistake. None of this is a mistake.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up.
And what I love is at the root of every aspect of creation is this unknown thing that when I discovered it is the thing that's changing my life in profound ways.
That's
And that's what happened there. So we can think about like the morphic field, morphic resonance, that a crystal, when it's crystallized for the first time, it's incredibly difficult to get that compound to crystallize. But then it becomes easier and easier and easier because now it has a memory. But it's not just the memory, it's that it's seeking. It's like harmonic resonance. It's seeking this homeostasis point where it's just easy to keep evolving, to keep creating itself. And when that compound finally finds its homeostasis, it can become a totally different compound. and they have this experience in pharmaceutical labs around the world. That once that crystalline compound that's XYZ drug finally finds homeostasis, it's no longer XYZ drug and they can't utilize it anymore. They have to totally scrap it. And that aspect of it seeking homeostasis is the thing that can drive all of our creator power if we understand how to utilize it.
That is very interesting, and it's time for so let's make sure that I want to make sure that we talk about. Okay, so that's awesome. Um, so we're talking about your vocation. So what does that actually look like? Because we got to
Yeah.
wrap up and jump in about 6 minutes. So
Yeah. Well,
okay,
I'm looking forward to people
yeah.
coming into the
So
after
let's
party for that conversation.
yes. So let's talk about what you pragmatically what you do, what you offer.
Yeah. So pragmatically, what do I offer? There's it's so interesting how we end up utilizing a significant amount of our energy, our life force energy, our creator energy every day in ways that are not necessarily in our good or for our favor or towards our desires or what we want to experience in life. So when we learn where that energy is currently being held up, a lot of it in our childhood operating system, which is also our nervous system, we can free up that energy. And when we understand this structure of creation that's pulling us towards that homeostasis, then all of a sudden we can truly utilize the power and the energy we have inside of ourselves to keep focused on our desires and the experiences, the creations, whatever it is that we want to have. So I bring people in. There's lots of different ways in which people come to work with me. We work with stuff around that childhood operating system. We reprogram it using neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, time travel embodiment. It's pretty amazing. Understanding how this actually works, we have way more power just in understanding how this works. And that's what NLP has given us. So I have some real fun, simple things that people can come into right now to learn a little bit more about this, to have some of those entry level experiences.
Cool.
And so did you have some questions there?
No, go.
Okay. So there's like a simple free offer so people can experience some of the meditations I've created that include NLP as well as hypnosis and a lot of mastery around how to utilize the voice for taking people places with different frequencies. So people can sign up for the free set of meditations. They'll be able to download them. And then I'm also offering over the next 3 weeks, one call each week. That's an invitation into your creator power, where we're going to start to understand these power dynamics and how to actually start to own that creator energy. And there'll be a live call each week. If people want, they can also sign up to get recordings of the calls, plus some of the other wonderful entry level stuff into the work I do. One of my flagship programs is called Foundations for Ecstatic Life. And it's a lot of the core ideas around, well, how do we create this incredible experience that we have as an infinite being having a human experience? And those foundational principles, just by adopting those, people change their lives in big ways.
That is super cool, and I think I have some links that I will put in that you furnished me that I will put in the show notes. Um, Thank you for that. I think that we have just a couple of minutes for some housekeeping, and then we're going to jump into the after party. And if you were smart enough to sign up for the after party, or if you've already signed up for one before, I just sent you the link and you have it. Jump on in with us, and Dina might just, if anyone's up for it, might do some mini coaching right there on the spot. If not, we've got a lot of juicy questions for her anyway. And if you have a juicy question, you can ask her in the after party. Okay, so let's do a little housekeeping. First of all, your support is what keeps the evolutionary conversation going and growing, and that support can take on a lot of different forms. Your time and attention and energy, of course, that you give when you listen to the show is really what matters. But if you want to take it to the next level, listen to the show and then show somebody some love. Do something for someone. Be of service to someone, and keep that vibration after you hang up from the call. And then, of course, boys got to eat, got to keep the lights on. So if it is within your means to do so and you like what we're doing here, please consider becoming a contributing member of the Evolutionary, and you will gain access to all of the after party recordings and any other cool exclusive content that we decide to post there. And you will also, of course, get invited to all of the after parties. And if you would like to get notified of all the shows, just go to theevolutionary.life. That's right, it's theevolutionary.life, because .com is so last season. That's theevolutionary.life. And any page, scroll to the bottom and you can put in your email there and get notified. Last thing I want to say is that the good news and fresh perspectives that we talk about at the beginning of every show, I would like to crowdsource whatever you can find out there. Give me some good stuff. I mean, good stuff. I don't want the bake sale. I mean, the bake sale is great, but give me something meaningful, something that engenders optimism for the trajectory of humanity. That's what we're talking about, because that's what's actually happening, and it's not getting reported on the news, and the algorithms don't take you to it. So let's do that together and really talk about that kind of stuff. Last thing is upcoming guests. The amazing death doula Tiffany Baker, one of my dear friends, is going to be on the show. I can't wait for that. Jaden Hawkinson, naturopath, deep in the Santo Daime tradition as well, working with psychedelic compounds, and just a deep individual. And then there's a rumor that we're going to have a channel coming on the show. Her name is Marilyn. Her last name is, I didn't ask her how to pronounce it. Giwaki. Anyway, I've met Marilyn. She is a ray of light, and I listened to her channel, and I'm a hard nut to crack when it comes to channels. I'm very skeptical about everything, but I'm not also one to kill a messenger. I love a good message, no matter where it comes from. And the being that she channels is named Zazar, and there is a rumor that she might be coming on the show. It's just a rumor. Okay, that's it. Dolly, thank you for being on the show. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to
Thank
be here.
you.
And we are going to jump over. If you registered and you have the Zoom link, or if you got the email from me and you got the Zoom link, now's the time to click it. We'll talk to you in a minute. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.